What happens when you give the exact same design prompt to 8 different AI image generators? The results are surprising. Some are stunning, some are strange, and some, well, honestly, a bit disappointing. As interior designers, we're all curious about how these tools can actually support our work. So I decided to put them to the test. I gave one carefully written living room prompt to 8 of today's top image generation models. And in this video, I'll show you what each one produced, what worked, what didn't, and which tools I'd actually recommend if you're serious about design. Before we dive into the results, here's the setup. This is the prompt I used, and here's the mood board and sketch that I started with. This was the baseline I wanted each AI to follow. The prompt had a few elements that I want to just point out. Firstly, it said that it should be a contemporary space and the lighting should be minimal and architectural, that there should be natural light from the window. When we're talking about the atmosphere, we're looking for a vibe that is warm and sophisticated and a mood that is calm, curated, and high end. I very specifically asked for colors that walls were neutral and beige, the sofa was an olive green velvet, the coffee tables were marble, the daybed had a soft grey tweed texture, and the throw was a textured brown. The floor was meant to be warm herringbone, and the lights, there were can lights that I intended to be on the ceiling. And in terms of styling, I wanted books, sculptures, candles. I wanted it to be curated, and I wanted there to be an abstract painting at the back of the room. So if you look at the mood board, it implies that the composition is symmetrical. I just put together a mood board, which was kind of what I was thinking of, was this sofa. I didn't actually ask for a specific lamp, and I wanted a set of shelves that were on both sides with an abstract painting in between, and I wanted to be metal, and sort of envisaged kind of a daybed in the front there. There was a window coming from this direction with the painting in between. When I reviewed the outputs, I looked at a few things: how closely the image stuck to the prompt, the quality of the textures and materials, whether the atmosphere felt high-end and realistic, and of course, speed, usability, and how much control each tool gives you. So there are no sponsorships here. This is purely an experiment to see how these tools compare. The first tool was GPT's own built-in image generator powered by GPT-5. This is the latest version of what used to be DALL-E, and it's built right into the ChatGPT interface. It's known for following prompts quite literally and from being better than older models at keeping details consistent, like making sure an object's color or shape matches what you asked for. But when I tested it, it was by far the slowest. Each image took over a minute to generate, and it only gives you one by default. The results technically matched my prompt. The wall color, the shelves, the sofa were all there, but the images themselves felt really flat and lifeless. The styling was generic, particularly on the shelves, and it just lacked that high-end atmosphere. So while it has good prompt adherence, I'd say ChatGPT image generation is the weakest of the group for design. It's fine for quick, casual tests, but not for polished concept work. Next up is Rev. This is a newer image generator that focuses on prompt adherence and aesthetic results, and it's got a really nice credit-based system. That means you can just pay as you go and you get full commercial rights to your images. I was genuinely impressed by this one. The interface is clean, it's fast, and you can generate multiple images at once. The outputs were polished, realistic, and atmospheric. It really stuck to the prompt. The only noticeable miss was the daybed, which it positioned at a right angle instead of parallel to the sofa. But overall, the results were pretty nice, if not beautiful. I'd say Rev is a fantastic option if you want high quality images without committing to a subscription. For me, it was one of the top performers in this test. Stable Diffusion is a different story. This one is open source, which means it's available in lots of different apps and platforms. It's been around for a while and it's known for being highly flexible. People use it from everything from illustration to photorealism, but the quality can vary a lot depending on what version or model you're using. In my test, the detail was actually very good. The bookshelves themselves had a lot of texture and some of the materials looked convincing, but the colors were off. The greens and the beiges didn't come through the way I described, and the abstract artwork in particular was generic and repetitive. So while Stable Diffusion is powerful, it is not the most user-friendly unless you're willing to dig into the different models and settings. It has potential, but it's not my top choice for interior visuals. Then we have Adobe Firefly. This is Adobe's own AI and it's built right into Creative Cloud. So you can generate an image and then edit it directly in Photoshop. That integration is its biggest strength. It's seamless if you're already working in Adobe. But the actual images it produced for my test weren't very inspiring. The color palette was nice and it leaned into the olive greens and natural tones that I asked for, but it also added odd architectural features like arches around the shelves that weren't in the prompt, and the furniture choices felt really generic, almost like a catalog spread. So Firefly is useful if you want to generate something and then refine it in Photoshop, but as a standalone image generator for interiors, it felt a bit bland. Of course, we can't skip MidJourney. This is probably the most popular image generator for designers right now. It's subscription-based and it has a huge community of users. It's known for beautiful, highly realistic images and lots of creative control with different parameters and settings. My test confirmed that reputation. The textures were rich, the fabrics looked like actual velvet and tweed, and the marble had depth. It also gave me some nice variety in the results, but the main issue is that it sometimes bends the prompt slightly to make the image more aesthetically balanced. For example, my sofa was placed at an angle instead of directly in front, which wasn't what I asked for, but it made the image compositionally stronger. Overall, MidJourney is still the leader if you want consistently stunning images with detail and atmosphere. For interior designers, it's hard to beat. Ideogram is a bit different. It was built more for marketing and branding visuals, and it's equally strong at generating images with text or logos, but for interiors, it didn't do as well. The results looked a little flat and lacked detail in textures. For example, the bookshelves were rendered as plain wood instead of the dark wood and metal I described, and the upholstery didn't have that tactile quality. So while it's a neat tool for other applications, I wouldn't recommend it for architectural or interior concepts. Runway is another tool that's primarily aimed at video creators. It has image generation, but its real strength is taking an image and animating it into video. In my test, the images were inconsistent. Some were close to the prompt, others were way off. The compositions varied a lot, sometimes too far from what I asked for. So as a static image generator, Runway isn't the best option. If you want to create moving visuals or bring a concept to life in video form, it's a powerful platform. And finally, Flux. This one is newer and I tested it through a platform called Night Cafe using the Flux Pro model. It's designed for high resolution results and really fast outputs, sometimes just 10 seconds. The positives are that it has options for aspect ratio and seed control, so you can refine results once you get something you like. But overall, the images weren't as strong for interiors. The textures felt generic, and the adherence to the prompt was inconsistent. Flux is interesting for experimentation, and the fact it's so fast is appealing, but it wouldn't be my go-to for design imagery. Looking across all 8, some clear patterns emerged. MidJourney and Rev were the strongest overall for interiors. They produced the most realistic and usable images. Stable Diffusion and Firefly were good in certain areas, but they were inconsistent. And the others, ChatGPT, Flux, Runway, and Ideogram, just don't feel ready for serious design use yet. The big lesson is that not all image tools are created equal. Choosing the right one really depends on your workflow, whether you value speed, flexibility, or editing integration. So here's my recommendation. If you want high-end visuals and you're willing to subscribe, go with MidJourney. If you want something credit-based and affordable, Rev is a fantastic alternative. If you're already in Photoshop or Creative Cloud and want to tweak as you go, Firefly has its advantages, but for interiors specifically, MidJourney is still the most reliable and aesthetic option. So there you have it. One prompt, 8 tools, and wildly different results. Which one do you think came on top? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your take. And if you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to like this video. And if you want to go deeper, watch this next video. I'll link it up here where I show you how to actually control MidJourney prompts so that you can get consistent client-ready images.